Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fucking banger of a pay-per-view. UFC 328 is set to take place this Saturday, and I'm here to talk about the two fights you see here on the screen. Khamzat Chimaev against Sean Strickland, and that boy Joshua Van against Tatsuro Taira. Two title fights, two banger matchups, and I can't wait to break it down. I can't wait to tell you guys all what I think and who I think is going to win. But without further ado, let's get straight into this breakdown. First of all, we got Mr. Khamzat Chimaev himself against Sean Strickland. Two guys who are probably two of the three best middleweights currently in that division right now. Khamzat Chimaev has proven to be just kind of levels above everyone else. But we finally have a contender that has a little bit of, DDP had a bit of that swagger, but Sean Strickland talks his shit. He talks his shit and he backs it up for the most part. And, the one main concern is you see those two red names on the screen right there, and that's because DDP beat Sean Strickland. And we all know what Khamzat Chimaev did to DDP. But MMA math doesn't always work. Is it going to work for this matchup? I don't know, guys. Let's break it down. First of all, we got Mr. Khamzat Chimaev himself. Again, I'm repeating the same shit. But this guy is probably the most dominant grappler in UFC history. Maybe you could argue that Khabib was more of a dominant grappler. But the way that this guy has been able to do guys that we think are good anti-grapplers, it doesn't fucking matter. This guy's gonna get you down, yes or yes, 10 times out of 10. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're Robert Whittaker. Doesn't matter if you're DDP. Doesn't matter if you're fucking, Usman, Burns, even Kevin Kung Fu Holland himself. This guy's gonna fucking get you down, and he's probably gonna have the rest of the round of control time or just fucking ground and pound you, sub you. Doesn't matter. Another thing, I think this guy has really underrated striking and power. Now, I'm not going to say here and say that he's a better striker than Strickland, but he definitely has more power than Sean Strickland does. I mean, who does that to GM3? If you've never seen that fight, I think it lasted 15 seconds of that. One red hook to the skull and GM3 was knocked out. It's GM3, but that motherfucker got Golden Freddy Fazbear, if you know what I mean. Real ones know what I mean when I say that. And then the last point, or the second to last point, I'll get to the first one. Will we see a DDP part 2? We've seen Sean Strickland have the ability to get up from takedowns. DDP played it really safe. He played it really safe. He didn't want to kind of scramble. He didn't want to get up. He didn't want to risk getting subbed. And if Sean Strickland comes in there with the same game plan, it's just going to depend on how urgent Khamzat Chimaev will be to get the finish. Will he try to find the neck? Will he do more ground and pound than he did against fucking DDP? Because he was in crucifix. He had the crucifix for about 22 or 23 of the 25 minutes. But he didn't really do nothing with it. He was, just hitting him with that left hand, kind of pounding him, touching him up, but nothing more than that. And so you wonder how he's going to approach this fight and how Sean Strickland is going to approach that aspect, because he knows he's going to get taken down. But what's going to happen after that? What are we going to see? What kind of scrambles are we going to see? What kind of urgency are we going to see from Khamzat Chimaev? And that first point / my last point, he fucking smashes everyone. I called Dana White. I told him I want to try his meat. You know what I mean? This guy smashes everybody. I fucking kill you. You guys know what I'm saying. He's just smasher. He smashes everyone, and you can't even argue. Like, a lot of people like to say that this guy is boring, but I disagree. I don't think this guy is boring. I think that DDP performance was boring 100%. But before that fight, we seen this guy dominate a lot of guys, and I don't think that's boring. If they're round one finishes, either by sub or knockout, ground and pound. He also has very good scraps against Gilbert Burns and Muhammad Usman. What the fuck? Kamaru Usman. And so I don't really like to say that he's boring. I like to say that, maybe a bit misunderstood, especially after that last performance, but boring, I wouldn't say that. We're going to find out after this fight, though, if we can start calling him in that boring territory, especially in this high-level fights. Moving on, we got Sean. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. Fucking Strickland. And, not too much. I think this is the first guy I've breaking down twice now. First point, not going to change. Jab and teep merchant. Jab and teeps, jab and teeps, jab and teeps till you're fucking dead. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. My jab and my teep are the best fucking weapon in the game, guys. So, and I don't fault him for it. He won a world title using that. And he beat the brakes out of fucking Anthony Hernandez using it. And he's able to use his style, use his Philly shell in a way that minimizes the damage that gets dealt to him. Another point, probably the best anti-grappler in middleweight. And I don't mean he is the best grappler. Probably besides Khamzat himself, obviously, this guy's the best anti-grappler in middleweight. Fluffy Hernandez cannot get shit going against him. And he's a fucking dominant grappler. There's talks about injuries, but what we saw in there is very close to an A+ performance as you can get, which is my next point. He's confident. He's coming in off of an A+ performance against a grappler that we all thought would dominate him, like we think Khamzat Chimaev is going to dominate Sean Strickland. And so we've seen this guy win in a similar position a couple years ago against someone we thought he had no chance with in Israel Adesanya. And this guy was fucking aura farming. He was aura farming because Israel Adesanya cannot get shit going. And Sean Strickland has been able to put in these performances where we're like, damn, this motherfucker is elite. And we need to start to call him elite. As much as you hate him, as much as you can dislike him, you can't argue that he is not elite. And like I said, it's the anti-grappling. We saw it against Brendan Allen. We saw it against DDP. We saw it against Fluffy. And even fucking Kamaru Usman, a similar name who they have fought back in the day. Then again, Kamaru Usman did beat Sean Strickland, but it wasn't in a dominant performance that we've seen. And we know that Sean Strickland can get up from these exchanges. We know he can do it. We've seen it many of times. And even if you do take him down, he gets right back up. Slows down maybe a little bit, but he gets back up to where he's going to have the obvious advantage. Because this guy's only losing to the elite guys. And Khamzat Chimaev, obviously one of the elite guys. But if he's able to do what he's been able to do his whole career, basically since he's been in the rankings and fighting the elite guys, which is not stuff to take, well, stuff to take them for a lot of them, but even when he does get taken down, be able to get right back up. 5, maybe 10 seconds of control time. He gets back up. He finds a fence, and works his way up. Gets that knee up, avoids the ground and pound, and finds his way up. But now, it's time to talk about who I think is going to win this fight. And I think either way, this is going to be a really good fight. This is going to be a really good fight because we're going to see two of the top 3 guys in middleweight go at it. And like I said before, the thing about it is that I can argue all this about Sean Strickland, but Chimaev just makes any anti-grappler look silly. It's not even that he like takes him down and kind of makes him work a little bit more, or the anti-grapplers make Chimaev work a little bit more. No, it's Chimaev's world, and they're all just fucking living in it when he takes him down. And Strickland probably has the best scrambles out of anyone recently that we've seen Chimaev fight. And so you wonder how that's going to look against a guy that's as dominant as Chimaev, because Sean Strickland, obviously no one has ever faced a grappler as dominant as Khamzat Chimaev, especially not in middleweight. So I think Strickland is going to go for it, man. He's just going to go for it. And he's going to try and get up. He's going to try and scramble, and he's going to try to find those moments where he can be in the ground the least amount of time as possible. And I think that's going to put him in some pretty bad spots. Whether it's Chimaev to be able to grab his neck or to be able to find another angle to take him down again. Because he's going to be like, here's the fucking thing, you guys. I wasn't about to let this fucking goat fucker just fucking teabag me for 25 minutes. So here's the fucking thing, you guys. I have to go for it, you know what I mean? And I think ultimately, Khamzat Chimaev is going to win by submission. Like I've been saying this whole time. Yes, Strickland is the best anti-grappler probably that Khamzat has faced for sure at middleweight because he's only fought 2 or 3 guys. But Khamzat Chimaev is just another fucking level. Like if there was a tier list of fighters, I would put Khamzat in middleweight. I would put Khamzat in his own tier, maybe 2 tiers above, because his grappling is probably the most dominant thing we have ever seen. Because you talk about guys that are really good strikers, but the thing with strikers is that the other guy always has a puncher's chance. He always has a kicker's chance. He always has the chance to find that blow. But I don't think Strickland's going to have that at all, especially because the power is not going to be there. And I think this is a pretty simple pick. It's a simple pick, and the simple pick is Khamzat Chimaev by submission. So yeah, guys, no hot take from me here, but maybe in the next one we'll see. Moving on. Now this is a fight, well, both of them, but this is a fight we should all be fucking excited for. We have Joshua Van and don't look at the number on the UFC. Bro, my fucking editor. Bro, I told you to fucking edit this. It's UFC 328 now. Fuck me, bro. Guys, I need to really fire. I really need to fire my editor. This is how riled up he has me that I'm fucking stuttering. Because I told him that they switched. I told him a month ago on the Erie card that it switched to 328. I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna kill him. I'll kill him. I'll fucking kill you. But yeah. Enough of the yip yapping. You guys know I love to yip yap. Joshua Van coming off of probably one of the weirdest performances that we have ever seen, because the reality is that in the books he did beat Pantoja, but in terms of a fight, he didn't beat Pantoja, and that's the reality of it. I don't want to hate. I don't get the Joshua Van hate, but he can't claim that he won that fight. You know what I mean? He can't claim that he won it because there was no real fight. So I do think it's shitty that he's claiming that he won that fight, that Pantoja should know how to fall. But the thing is, he is champ, and this fight needs to happen whether we like it or not. So this fight is happening. Both of them coming off of pretty good wins. Joshua Van having that win streak, and Tatsuro Taira coming off probably the most dominant performance against the highest level of fighter that he has faced in Brandon Moreno. So let's break this shit down. Joshua Van, what we know about Joshua Van, top 2 striker in the flyweight division. I don't think that anyone can argue that. He can strike with the best of them. And Tatsuro Taira is not the best of them. He is not the best of strikers. Joshua Van is. He is able to do that because of his fucking volume. He is volume, and more volume kind of guy. He has that kind of volume that's going to have you shivering in your timbers. You're right in front of him, and next thing you know, hot. 2 to the body, 2 up top, fucking right overhand because he's short as fuck. So that's the way he can get the most power. That's where he had the most success against Brandon Royval with. And another thing about that Royval fight, we saw the crafty calf kick. We saw the crafty kick up the middle. And yeah, the one thing about him, though, when it comes to the striking, which I think people are somehow overrating now, is that he has pillow hands. I'm out here hearing time and time again how Joshua Van has power, has a bit of, not even a bit. He has one of the most He's one of the most powerful guys in the division. Guys, what the fuck are we talking about? Yes, it's kind of difficult to gauge which flyweights are the most powerful, and maybe Joshua Van is up there in the top 10, 5, but he's not a powerful guy. He's not a powerful guy. I don't know where we're getting these narratives from. He knocks guys out in the late second, third round, but because of the volume. It's not because of the power. And yes, if I got hit by him, if you got hit, yes, you looking at this video right now got hit by him, it would probably hurt. It would probably hurt a fuck ton. But against the guy in Tatsuro Taira, and the thing about here's the fucking thing, you guys, about these Asians. The Asians, like Mexicans, have great chins. And those motherfuckers just don't give up. And this guy just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the power where I'm going to be like, wow, watch out for the round 1, round 2 KO, because he's just going to catch him. He's just going to get him. But he's not. He's not going to get him. So I don't know where this is all coming from, but I think we all need to stop this narrative, and I think we're going to have to stop this narrative after this fight, because I don't see a knockout unless it's a round 4, round 5, even late round 3 volume KO. And the last point, which definitely is going to be the most important point, can his takedown and jiu-jitsu defense hold up versus probably the best grappler in the division, maybe barring Pantoja, because we know that Joshua Van is able to strike with the best of them. We saw the fight against Royval. We saw the fight against fucking Bruno Silva. We know he can knock grapplers' head off. We know he can do it. But can he do it against a guy that's going to be more bigger than him, stronger than him, craftier than any other guy that he's faced before? Because people bring up the Ray Sururia fight. I don't think you can compare that. Obviously, Ray is a very talented grappler in his own right. But Tatsuro Taira is way stronger, more complete, chain wrestles better, clinches better, just a lot better in general than Ray Sururia. And so you wonder, big question, you wonder, will his takedown defense, will his jiu-jitsu defense hold up? Because like in the Chimaev fight, I think at some point Van will be on the ground, because Tatsuro Taira is just way too good of a grappler, way too good of a chain wrestler to not be able to take someone that's smaller than him down. So I think this is the biggest question going in for Joshua Van. But moving on, we got Tatsuro Taira himself, man. And I think the biggest difference that we're going to see in this fight is that he's going to have the size and length advantage. Pause. I even had to put it on the slide. Big pause. Whoa. What are we talking about? Are we talking about size and length here? Yes. And I'm talking about MMA as well. But as I've been alluding to, talking about here, I think that Tatsuro Taira is a very, very dominant grappler with elite BJJ. We saw it against probably the best BJJ guy, well, two of the best BJJ guys that he's faced. We saw him be able, although he didn't finish it, he was able to snatch up the neck of Brandon Royval. We saw how he fucking dominated. I got caught. He got dominated. He dominated Brandon Moreno. And you guys know how much I love Brandon Moreno. But he fucking dominated him. He wiped the floor with him. He made a guy that has pretty good, solid jiu-jitsu look kind of silly. I'm not going to lie. And the thing about him is that he moves quick. He moves fucking quick when he's on the ground. That little bit of chance that he got in that Royval fight, he gave him an inch and motherfucker took a mile. The body lock seems lethal. The ability to be able to transition into different areas of the grappling, I think, is elite. Not to mention, this guy has, I'd say, around B-level striking, because we saw him in that Royval fight, and we saw him have the ability to be able to strike with him at moments. And especially in that Brandon Moreno fight, he kind of looked a little bit more patient, a little bit more improved, a little bit more willing to be able to pick his shot and find the right spot. And especially against that Jisung Park fight where he knocked him down and then subbed him. It wasn't that he took him down, chain wrestled, and then subbed him. He knocked him down. And yes, I'm not going to compare Jisung Park, and fucking Joshua Van. I forgot his name. In terms of the striking, its levels, Joshua Van is obviously going to have the advantage. But I think the discrepancy is going to be, a little bit higher in their grappling than in the striking. That's just what I think. That is my biggest point. Now the biggest question I have for him is I think he'll for sure be able to take down Van. But that's even a question in itself a little bit. But I think we all know he will be able to take him down. But will he be able to keep him there? And what I mean about will he be able to keep him there is how long can he transition into the areas that he wants to, like he's been able to do before? Can he have 2-3 minutes of control time, rack up and easily win a round, maybe some ground and pound? Can he do that? Because we've seen Joshua Van be able to really get up easily versus guys who we think are much better grapplers than him and guys who we thought were going to hold him down. So it's interesting. I think the biggest questions are going to be in the grappling because, like I said before, I think the biggest discrepancy here is going to be in the grappling. I think the striking obviously going to have its discrepancies, but I think we're going to see just how much Tatsuro Taira has been able to develop his striking game. And I think Joshua Van for sure is going to have success. I think at times he's going to piece him up and we're going to be like, damn, who the fuck actually picked Tatsuro Taira? We're going to see Tatsuro Taira get pieced up because Royval had the most success in the boxing exchanges versus kicks, especially when it came to that straight, being that, Brandon Royval is a southpaw. So I think that's going to be a little bit different here because Joshua Van is orthodox and that reach is not going to be there. And I don't think Joshua Van has as powerful of a straight than Brandon Royval does. So I think the biggest weapon that Royval had will not be a weapon for Joshua Van here because we saw once or maybe even twice Royval hurt him with that straight left. So what I think we've seen though in these past couple of fights, past couple of performances from Tatsuro Taira is that he will be a lot more patient and he's going to find his moments to have success in the striking, to be able to get that takedown, and I think he will be able to take the back fast. Because I think at some point, Joshua Van, he's kind of reckless. He's a smart striker. He's a very, like I said, volume S striker, but he's kind of reckless. He uses that body kick up the middle a lot as well and the calf kick, and I think those are going to put him in dangerous positions, not to mention even in the boxing exchanges. And I think he'll be a little bit more smart. I don't think he'll go in there and have those boxing exchanges like he did versus Brandon Royval. But if he does, or if he does one or two, Tatsuro Taira is going to take advantage of that, and he's going to fast. And before he blinks, before he knows it, he's going to be taken down. And Tatsuro Taira is going to be able, I believe, to take his back at least once. Because, like I said, Brandon Royval gave him an inch, and this motherfucker took a mile. It was impressive, especially being that Brandon Royval is supposed to be a BJJ guy. So, what is my pick here? My pick, if it wasn't obvious enough, fucking Tatsuro Taira, man. I think Tatsuro Taira is going to get it done. I think it's going to be a round 3 finish. I think we're going to see Van have, like I said, a lot of success in the striking. I think we're going to see him for sure out-volume Tatsuro Taira. I think we might even see Tatsuro Taira get stumbled a little bit. Get hurt a little bit. Kind of wobble. But, like I said, man, these Asians just have different chins, man. Like the Mexicans, the chin is just built different. And I think at some point, he's going to take Van down, if not once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times. Because I know Van has the ability to get up. But I think in the round 3, Van's going to be a little bit tired. He had to scramble probably a lot more than he had in other fights. Or at least try a lot more. Because Tatsuro Taira is just the stronger guy. I think Van's going to be a little bit tired. little bit, wheezing a little bit. And I think Tatsuro Taira, if it's not ground and pound, he's going to find that neck. He's going to find the back fast. And he's going to get it done. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see the first Japanese UFC champion ever, I think, at least for sure, in the lower weight classes. And Khamzat Chimaev retain his belt. Yes, holy shit, MMA. 2 favorites. Wow, what predictions. But I think that Van and Taira fight are 50-50. But I just think Van, Taira's going to get it done. Van's becoming a little bit overzealous. Both of them are young, but I think Taira has his head locked into the game. Not that Van isn't taking it serious, but I think that Taira has his mind set straight. And Van's kind of being a little bit cocky, kind of, taking it in maybe a little bit too much. And not that has anything to do. I know that helps guys, especially a guy in Joshua Van that fights with swag. But Tatsuro Taira is different, man. I don't know. I can just see him dominate in the grappling when it gets there. And maybe not in the first right away. But I think he's going to find his moment. I think Chimaev's going to find his moment. And I think both of them will be kind of around the same time. Same method. And we're going to see 2 grappling champions. One of them retain and one of them and new. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for me. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment what you thought, and make sure to come back once I go fucking 0 for 2 again like I did in videos past. But yeah, guys, 2026, the year of fucking Halo MMA. Let's make it happen. You guys are the one that are going to make it happen. And I'm just going to be here to provide the content. Yap all I want. Bust balls. Do all of it. And make sure to look out for me. I'm going to have a couple videos next week that are going to be bangers. But yeah, like I said, it's enough yapping for me. Hopefully this is a banger of a card. And I'll see you next time. Peace.